Oh, so many books, I couldn't hold them all up. So many books to get through. Hey guys, it's Kira. How you guys doing today? So I went through a lot of my books and I was only going to do like 20 books that I really wanted to get to in 2020. But turns out there is a ton of books that I have been really wanting to read for a very long time. And so, because there's so many books that I really want to read, I think I ended up like with about 21 or 22 books like that I really want to get to in 2020. These are all standalone books. These are the books like that are just kind of been floating around in my room for a while that I really want to get to. So I'm just going to go ahead and get into the ones that I am really hoping to make sure that they're on my top priority list this year. The first one being Autobiography by Christina Lauren. This is an LGBTQ plus book that I've heard so many positive things about, and I bought it meaning to get to it a lot sooner, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I've been very upset about that. So I'm really hoping to get to this one. This has made a really big impact on a lot of people, and I feel like I really want to experience this for myself, because Autobiography is one of those books like that I believe like this, from what I hear, kind of really resonates with you. And I kind of want that resignation in me too. So this is one of my top books for 2020 that I really hope to get to. So the next book that I'm really hoping to get to is How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. This is the UK Illustrated edition. I really am excited about this because I'm a huge Matt Haig fan. I have been for quite a while. I read a couple of his other books like that had to deal like with depression. And those books really spoke to me. I also read The Humans by Matt Haig like about almost 2 years ago now. And I really loved it. It just stuck with me. And this book right here is about a guy. He ages a lot slower than the average person. And so he's gone through a long time not falling in love. Well, he ends up meeting somebody, and which kind of complicates things because, like, you know, he ages so slowly, he's going to have to watch the person that he loves ages. In his realm, like, there are other people like him. Now this is like just from like what I remember about this book being, I didn't read the synopsis because being the fact that I want to get to this really soon, I didn't want to ruin anything for myself. Being the fact that there's a few people who are like this, that age really slow. He's not really supposed to fall in love, but sometimes you just can't help yourself. So I'm really excited about this because it's been a while since I read a Matt Haig book, and I really love Matt Haig. I just think he's just so brilliant, and I really have loved everything that I've read by him so far. So I'm really excited about this one. Another book that I have really been meaning to get to is Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. I've had this on my shelf for quite a while. I know that this is very popular. This is an adult fiction novel, and that's pretty much all I know about it. Once again, I know that this is like one of those books like that has been just very impactful to a lot of people, and people really seem to respond to Celeste Ng. I heard that the way she describes things, I believe especially family dynamics, is really pivotal to how effective her writing is and how well done it is. So I really enjoy like the whole family dynamics thing, and I'm really excited and curious about this one because it seems like so many people have really loved this. This is not a book like that is talked about a ton anymore on BookTube. That's how long it's been on my TBR, but I'm really still hoping to get to it in 2020. Now this is another book that has been talked about off and on still, and it's starting like to die down like a little bit for the hype, but it's still a very well loved book. And that is Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi. She actually recently came out with another book called Permanent Record in 2019. Earlier in 2019, I believe like around mid-2019 to be specific. And I'm really curious about this. I believe, from what I remember about this, this takes place between two people pretty much all through text messages, and it's a love story. And I'm really interested in that because that's kind of not really a territory that you really see very often, like where most of the interaction comes through dialogue and text messages, which in this day and age, because, you know, especially like being the fact that the internet is so accessible to so many people, it is really easy to meet people through messaging alone. So I feel like this is so relevant to how things are here in 2020 that I have been wanting to get to this, especially because so many people have also really enjoyed this book. I'm really excited. I feel like 2020 is going to bring so many good things. So a book that was super hyped in 2019 that I have not gotten to yet, that I'm kind of upset that I haven't gotten to yet, because everybody has seemed to really love it. And that is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. I'm actually in the process as we speak. I'm trying to finish it before the end of 2019. I'm currently reading An Enchantment of Ravens, which is her very first book, and that one got a lot of mixed reviews. I believe like a lot of people that didn't like that one ended up loving this one, and people that love that one still love this one. So I feel like my statistics odds in loving this book are going to be very much in my favor. So I'm very excited. This is basically about an enchanted library, and of course, as readers, who doesn't love an enchanted library? I know I love one. So I'm really excited about this because so many people have really loved this book, and just another book that I really hope to get to. So I feel in 2020, I want to read a little bit more nonfiction. In 2018, I read quite a bit more nonfiction than I did in 2019. Which is kind of really upsetting to me because I kind of got distracted by all the stories and stuff, which I love, don't get me wrong, I love the stories. But I also love nonfiction books because I feel like they add to my knowledge of the world, you know, and how I see it and how I handle things, and like how like it kind of, you know, like kind of expands like my knowledge of what's around me, not just through storytelling but through facts. And I feel like both storytelling and facts are both very important. So I actually want to read The Highly Sensitive Person by Elaine N. Norton, PhD. This is actually about people who are really sensitive and they're trying to survive in a really harsh world, and it kind of, I believe, is going to help. I think it's either supposed to like help teach you how to handle yourself being a sensitive person and respect yourself and kind of like, you know, give yourself some extra love and care in a very hectic world. This is a book that I have been meaning to get to for a very long time. It's gotten a lot of really positive feedback as far as, you know, what it's about and how it's helped people, and how like it just really like kind of expands how you feel about things in general. And I feel like it's such an important book, if for no other reason like then it really just is supposed to help you guide yourself and help you deal like with things that are very overwhelming. So I really have been meaning to get to this. I've had this on my shelf for a couple of years now, and I know the Backlist Bookathon is coming up. I'm actually helping to co-host that. I'm hoping to get through quite a few of these because these are books that have been on my TBR for like over 6 months. Like almost all of these books have been on my TBR for over 6 months, so lots of stuff. So honestly, like I am not typically a huge fan of short story collections, but about 3 years ago I watched a movie called Arrival, and it has Amy Adams in it. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie, but I really loved it. And come to find out, it was based on a science fiction collection of short stories by Ted Chiang. Ted Chiang, I guess, has been around for quite a while, and this was that movie was my very first introduction to him. When I found out about it, I decided to go and read the short story collection that Arrival short story was in, and I was completely blown away. So last year in 2019, Ted Chiang also came out with a short story collection, which is a collection of science fiction short stories called Exhalation. He does actually veer towards the side of hard science fiction, but the last short story collection, The Story of Our Lives, which is the one that the short story of Arrival had in it, oh my god, like I loved that so much. I'm usually not a huge fan of short story collections. I have a really hard time with short stories because I never feel like you get enough time to bond with the characters. But in these short stories, at least like the Story of Our Lives, I bonded with the ideas. And so it made it really easy for me to get through. I'm so excited for this. I am so bummed I did not get to this last year, but I'm going to make a point to get to it in 2020 because I really, if you are interested like at all in science fiction or anything else, they can be like a little bit dense, a little bit on the side of dense, but I don't feel like they're so dense like that they're not comprehensible by a wide range of people, especially for The Story of Our Lives. And I kind of have a feeling like this will probably be like the same thing, but I'm just so excited. I love Ted Chiang and I loved Arrival, so excited. Another book that I really hope to get to is Lancelot by Christian Giles. This is actually an Arthurian retelling from Lancelot's perspective. I remember hearing about this last year. This same author has done like a lot of historical like stuff for Vikings also. I am so excited to get to this. I saw some people on Goodreads, this was kind of floating around like very lightly around Goodreads for like a while. I haven't heard about it too much in the booktube community, but from what I heard, like all the reviews and stuff on this has gotten some amazing reviews, and I love Arthurian retellings. I've actually been craving them for like a little bit. I know the Guinevere Deception just came out as well by Christian White, and so this is a book like that I'm really meant to get to. It's so beautiful. And I feel like I'm just going to love this story. It is a little bit thick, but that's okay because I cannot wait to get to this one. So this book is a book that I have been hearing so much about, and I actually read a Mindy McGinnis book a little bit earlier in the year, Heroine, and I was blown away by it. This is another book that I really want to read, The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. This is actually about rape, and I believe it's about like a girl who is like kind of fighting back, if I remember right, and that's pretty much all I know about this. But after reading Mindy McGinnis's Heroine, I am so ready to read more by her because that book was so hard-hitting and so realistic that I'm really thinking that I'm probably going to be blown away by this one too, especially because of all the feedback. This has gotten like so much good feedback, and that makes me so happy because, you know, I love good feedback, but I'll also read stuff like that I try not to limit myself based on just feedback alone. Like if I'm interested in the plot line, you know, everybody's going to have their own opinions, but really excited about that one. So this is another book that came out late in 2019, Reverie. I have talked about this one a couple times before. This is, I believe, about a kid that goes through something very traumatic, and he kind of experiences a reverie and escape from all that, and he has to kind of get back to himself by shedding his reverie. He has to go through it. I think that's what this is about. It's been a while since I've read the synopsis, but I know this is one of my most anticipated releases for 2019. And I've meaning to get to this one for quite a while, so I'm hoping to. Another book that I've seen a lot around is The Deep by River Solomon, with David Diggs, William Hudson, and Jonathan Snipes. I've actually heard that this has a lot of non-binary rep in it, which I'm very excited about. And it's not very thick at all, and I haven't gotten to it yet, but I've been kind of wanting to save it for like 2019 because I think 2019 is going to be another fantastic reading year. And yes, just yes. So another book that I really want to get to is Echo North by Joanna Ruth Meyer. I believe, from what I remember, that this is another Beauty and the Beast retelling. And honestly, I'm sold at that because Beauty and the Beast is one of my all-time favorite fairy tales. I love it. I just love the whole premise of, I don't like the Stockholm Syndrome, let's just have a disclaimer on that one. But I do like the overall ideas like that, you know, like somebody can go from being like this horrible person and kind of like, you know, have like this brilliant redemption arc and become a better person for having known somebody and fall in love with somebody. So really, like when it comes like to Beauty and the Beast, when I think about Beauty and the Beast, like that is by far and above like my favorite thing about Beauty and the Beast is that redemption arc that somebody like, you know, can become better through love. And here's another one, The Light Between Worlds. I know that there's a lot on this list, but like there's just so much I want to read. Like I'm just so excited like to try to get to all this stuff. So The Light Between Worlds is basically like an after the fact portal fantasy. These kids come back from like, you know, a place that's similar to Narnia after being away for quite a while, and they have to readjust to the real world. And, you know, it just sounds very magical. I've heard a lot of really brilliant things about this one as well, so another wonderful book to read. So I cannot believe I have not gotten to this book. I should have gotten to this book much sooner. Naomi Novak's Spinning Silver. I got this a book of the month like not this past year, but the year before that, towards the end of the year. I should have gotten to this one. I just heard so many brilliant things about this. And this is supposed to be, I believe, a Sleeping Beauty retelling? Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. It's okay. I can take the constructive criticism. Novak, I know, wrote another book Oh man, it's so late at night, I can't think right now. Okay, but yeah, so Naomi Novak wrote another book that kind of got mixed reviews, but this one overall has gotten a lot of really good reviews and it's been very popular. A lot of people love it, so I want to love it too. But who reads books to hate them? You know, actually there was a discussion on Twitter about that recently, so yes, there are people that hate read, and you know what? Props to you for wanting to roast a book, like, and have fun with, you know, like hating something. Who doesn't want to hate read? I'm not particularly fond of it myself, but you know what? We all live our own lives, we all walk our own paths, and we are all allowed to do such that. Such that. Can't talk. I'm also allowed to talk how I want. So this is kind of a big book, and this is another book that I got not this Christmas, but Christmas of 2018 from my wonderful parents, because I requested it because I've been wanting to get to it for quite a while. And it's 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. And this is another science fiction, I believe. A love story, a mystery, a fantasy, a novel of self-discovery, a dystopian to rival George Orwell's 1Q84 is a tremendous feat of imagination from one of our most revered contemporary writers. I have seen this around so much, and I know like a lot of people have really, really loved this book. This is a very big book. This is like over 1,000 pages, and I'm okay with that. Like, I really just want to read it. Like, I want to know what it's about. Like, and of course, like one of my things that I was trying to do for 2020 was read more science fiction, so I kind of feel like this fulfills that. Another book that I really, really want to read, I read The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna in 2018, and that book has stuck with me. Like, it haunts me, but like in a good way. So Kristen Hanna, The Nightingale, is the next book I want to read by her, and basically I believe this takes place like in Paris, but in Nazi inhabited Paris. And I have heard like this is not 100% historically accurate, but I've heard that people really, really love this. And if I love it even remotely as much as The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna, I'm in trouble, because like it's just gonna be another book like that's gonna like just stick to my skull and not come out, because that's exactly what The Great Alone has done for me. This is another book that is LGBTQ+, and I've been very much meaning to read it, and that is The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. I believe this is about an Irishman who is gay, and he kind of has to hide who he is. This is another kind of bigger book. This is a little bit of a clunker, and I've heard that this is such a beautifully written story, and I am so excited. I was actually the book of the year for the 2017 book of the month, so it has to be awesome, because I love book of the month. I love a lot of their adult stuff, and you know, they have really good taste as far as books go, so I'm just very excited to read this, being the fact that this is one of the top books of 2017 for them. I know it's a few years old, but I feel like it's still very relevant. So another one that I mean to get to is Patron Saints of Nothing by Randy Rebray. I have been dying to get to this book, like really hardcore. Mainly, this book isn't like abundantly talked about. Like, it's talked about quite a bit, but I wouldn't say like that it's like overly discussed. But from what I've heard of this, like it's basically about like this kid who kind of, I believe his relative dies, and and the authorities don't seem to care, so he kind of has to take things into his own hands. And I'm really excited for like that, the kind of like, you know, like seeking justice and, you know, trying to find out like what happened to his relative, because, you know, he cared about him, and it just sounds amazing. Another book that I also would like to read is The Weight of Stars by Kay Ancrum, which is the same one that wrote The Wicker King. Now, I wasn't the biggest fan in the world of The Wicker King. I know like a lot of people loved it, and it wasn't till like I got to the end of The Wicker King like that it really struck me, and I started bawling my eyes out. Like, I hardly ever cry during books, but I started bawling my eyes out. Like, it just hit me so freaking hard. It was like a brick to the skull that was making me cry because it hurt so much, but like here, like it hit me like right here. So after I heard about this one, which is another LGBTQ+ book, I decided that I was going to try out my hand with her other book, because the other one, while I had mixed emotions of it towards the beginning of it, towards the end of it, I was just hit so incredibly hard by it. I'm really hoping like that this kind of hits me like a lot sooner. This is about, I believe, like one girl who is in a wheelchair, like she can't stand on her own, she has trouble, and then the other girl, and it's about friendship and love between two girls. It's a female-female, I believe, romance, and I'm here for it. Another book that I have really been meaning to get to is Somewhere Only We Know by Maureen Gu. This is actually supposed to be similar to, I believe, what they said was a K-drama, and I don't get an opportunity to watch a lot of TV or a lot of K-dramas, but when I was in high school and every now and then I will seriously indulge in some K-drama. I love K-dramas, like they're so cute, they are so much fun. And so I feel like this is going to be like my indulgence is Somewhere Only We Know by Maureen Gu, because I just love K-dramas so much. Oh, I just love them. And this is the next to last book. I swear guys, I am almost done. There's just so much like that I have realized like that I have been neglecting. So this next one is called We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson. This is also supposed to be a science fiction book about a kid that gets kind of put in charge of saving the world. And he's a young kid, and it's, I believe, like from what I've heard, like this talks a lot about self-worth. And while it is considered a science fiction book, it's not so heavily science fiction. Like this is a very light science fiction book because the majority of it, I believe, circulates around a boy who's trying to figure out his worth. So very excited because this is another one that I believe has gotten amazing reviews. So this is another book, I believe, I'm not sure if it's going to be a sequel or not to a series or the beginning of a series or anything, but I recently got this in my Fairy Loot box and I was very intrigued by it, so much so like that I ended up putting it on one of the top books that I wanted to read in 2020. So this is the last book I have to discuss. It's called Eight Will Fall by Sarah Haran. And this is basically about an empath who was born with the ability to sense other people's emotions and she can use those emotions to either create or destroy. And it is considered, I believe, a science fiction book for YA, but it sounds really incredible. I kind of have an affinity for empaths because I feel like I am an empath myself, so I have a lot of empathy towards empaths. And I feel like, I don't know, like you get like around people for like long enough and I just feel like this giant sponge. Like I just feel like I absorb so much from people, which is usually the definition of an empath. So when I heard about this book, when I saw like this book, because actually like before Fairy Loot, like I knew nothing about this book, I got really excited. Like I was just like, this sounds like such a fun book. So awesome. Yeah guys, there is a lot, and I do mean a lot, that I want to get to in 2020. I'm just hoping it is just as an amazing reading year as what I experienced in 2019. And I'm just so excited. There's just so many books. Thank you guys so much for watching me. If you guys have any idea which one of these books you guys would think I should read first, put that comment down in the bottom because I want to know what I should put, because while these are my high priority books, I want to know which one should be my high priority books. So thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Kira. If you guys want to chat some more, I'm on other social medias. Those links are linked in the description below. Please like and subscribe for my channel. I really appreciate it. I love to hear back from you guys. I love to know that you guys love my stuff that I create for you. It really helps me out too if you guys like and subscribe and hit the little bell icon. It really helps me. So I will hope to see you guys again very, very soon.